Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tesla's first quarter 2025 Q&A webcast. My name is Travis Axelrod, Head of Investor Relations, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk. Welcome to Tesla's first quarter 2025 Q&A webcast. My name is Travis Axelrod, were announced at about Investor Relations time, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk, published at the same link as this webcast, and a number of other executives. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. And these comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. Due to a number of these comments are based on including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. Actual events or results during the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. Join the question queue. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue.
These days.
Before we jump into Q&A, Elon,
thanks for sure. Every day is going to be exciting. Hello, everyone.
Well, it's never dull.
As people know, there's been some blowback for the time that I'm spending in every day is going to be exciting. Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. As people know, there's been some blowback for the time that I'm spending in government in the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, our country, United States. I think the work that we're doing there is actually very important for, and the DOGE team has made a lot of progress in addressing waste and fraud, our country. The natural blowback from that is those who were receiving the wasteful dollars. The DOGE team has made a lot of fraudulent progress in addressing waste and fraud. Try to attack blowback from that is those who were receiving the wasteful dollars and anything fraudulent associated with me. So, well, then I'm really trying to attack. Should we just let the waste and fraud continue? Those team and anything associated with continuing at it, so to grow it, and then really an unsustainable pace. Should we just let the waste and fraud continue? Or to fight continuing at it, waste and fraud to grow it, and really an unsustainable pace back on the right track. And bankrupting the country. I believe the right thing to do is to fight the waste and fraud and try to get the country back on the right track. And I'm working together with the President Trump and his administration is to fight the waste and fraud because if the country back on the right track goes down, and working we all go together with the President Trump and his administration and everyone else. So because if the ship goes down, work we all go down. Now the protests that you'll see Tesla, they're very organized, so they're paid for. I think this is critical work. They're obviously not going to that you'll see. Say they're very organized. That the reason that they're paid for is because they're receiving fraudulent money. They're obviously not going to, or that say recipients the reason they're protesting is because they're receiving fraudulent money. They're going to come up with some other reason, or but that is the real reason for protests. The actual reason is they're going to come up with some other reason because that those receiving the waste but that is the real reason receiving this. The actual that is the real thing that's going on here. Obviously, is that those receiving the waste and fraud wish to continue receiving it. I do think that is the real thing that's going on here. Obviously, you know so. Now that said, I do think large slug of work necessary to get the DOGE team in place, and you know the government to the large slug of work necessary to get the DOGE team in place, mostly and working in the government, I think, to get the financial house in order is mostly starting probably, and I think in next month, May, my time allocation probably to DOGE will drop significantly. Next month, I'll have to continue doing it for. I think my time allocation, the remainder of the President's DOGE will drop significantly. Just to make sure that the waste and fraud I'll have to continue doing it for stop does not come roaring back. Probably the remainder of the President's will do if it has. Just to make sure that the waste and fraud that we stop does not come roaring back. So I think I'll continue to spend, which we'll do a day or two a week on matters. So I think I'll continue as the President would like me to do so. A day or two, and as long as it is useful on, but. Starting next month, or as long as the President would like me to do so, and as long as it is useful to Tesla. But starting next month, I'll be major work of establishing the Department of Government Efficiency of my time to Tesla, and so now that the major work of establishing the Department of Government Efficiency is done, many a crisis over the years. And actually been through many. Tesla has gone through many near-death experiences. Many a crisis over the years. Like we probably were on the ragged edge of death, and actually been through many near-death experiences. It's been so many times. We're
This
probably
is not
on
one
the
of those
ragged edge
times.
of death.
We're not on the ragged edge
At
of
least
death.
not even close.
Maybe a dozen times.
It's been so many times.
So this is one of those times. Some
Not on the
challenges.
ragged edge of death.
And I expect that this year will be so.
There'll probably be some
there are some
unexpected
some
bumps this
challenges, and I expect that this year will
I
be.
remain
extremely optimistic about the future of the
There'll probably
company.
be some unexpected bumps this year. The future of the company is fundamentally based
I
on
remain extremely optimistic about the future of the company.
large-scale autonomous cars. The future of the company is fundamentally based on and large-scale, large-scale, vast numbers
autonomous
of autonomous
cars,
humanoid robots. And large-scale, large volume, vast numbers of autonomous humanoid robots.
The value of a company
that makes truly useful autonomous humanoid robots and autonomous
the value of a company
vehicles
that
at scale at low cost. Truly useful autonomous humanoid robots and is autonomous staggering useful vehicles at scale at low cost. I continue to believe, which is what Tesla's going to do. Is excellent execution. Staggering will be the most valuable company in the world by far. I continue to believe that Tesla. But that's an important if. We must execute well. Excellent execution will be the most valuable company in the world by far. If we do execute well. That's an important if. We must execute well. I think Tesla will be the most valuable company in the world by far. It may be as valuable as the next 5 companies combined. I think Tesla will be the most valuable company in the world by far. It may be as valuable as the next 5 companies
along the road before that happens.
So I said, I think on the last earnings call that.
But there'll be a few bumps along the road before that happens.
I said, I think on the last earnings call, prosperity of autonomy, the take effect in a material way around the middle of next year. We still expect to prosperity of autonomy, fully autonomous rides take effect in a material way around the middle of next year. We still expect to several months have these selling fully autonomous rides in June in Austin as we've
when does it
been saying really become material several months and affect the bottom line. That's continued, but the real question start from
financial
be
standpoint
a fundamental.
when does it
really become material and affect the bottom line of the company? When does it move the financial needle in a significant way? That's probably part of the around the middle of next year, second half of next year. When does it move the financial needle? And then once it does start move, that's probably the financial needle in a significant way. It will really around the middle of next year, second half of next year. And then once it does start move the financial needle, I encourage people to look beyond it will really go exponential from there. So that's. So I encourage people to look beyond the road immediately ahead of us, but lift your gaze to the bright shining road immediately ahead of us, but Citadel on a hill. Lift your gaze to the Reagan-esque bright shining and Citadel on a hill. I don't know. That's where Reagan-esque and not too distant future like end of next year technically. And that's where we're headed. And not too distant future like I said, end of next year technically. So with respect to supply chain risk, something that Tesla has been working on for several years is to localize supply chains. With respect to supply chain risk, actually makes sense. Something that Tesla has been working on for several years is to localize logistics risk supply chains. This actually makes sense is to have a cost supply chains be at least located on the continent, logistics risk standpoint car is built. And so is to have the supply chains be at least located on the continent in which the car is affected built. Car company. So with respect to tariffs, the least most respects. I mean, remains to be seen. The least affected car company. Now tariffs with respect to tariffs. At least in most respects, when margins remains to be low. But now tariffs we do have localized supply chains and tough on a company when margins are still low in China. But we do have that puts us in a strong supply chains in North America, Europe, and China. So that puts us in a stronger position than any of our competitors. And undoubtedly, I'm going to get a lot of questions about tariffs, and I just want to emphasize that the tariff decision is entirely up to the president of the United States. I'm going to get a lot of questions about tariffs, and I will weigh in with my advice with the president. The tariff decision is entirely up to the president of the United States. It's up to him, of course, to make his decision. I will weigh in with my advice with the president. I've been on the record many times as saying that listen to my advice, but then it's up to him, of course, generally a good idea decision for prosperity. I've been this decision on the record many times the elected representative of the people. Lower tariffs are generally a good idea. So for prosperity, I'll continue to advocate fundamentally up to the elected representative of the people. Lower tariffs rather than higher tariffs. So that's all I can do. I'll continue to advocate for. Now let me walk you through why I'm so excited about higher tariffs. But first of all, autonomy. The team and I are laser focused on bringing robotaxi. Now let me walk you through why I'm so excited about the future of Tesla. Unsupervised autonomy. So first of all, autonomy. The team and I are laser focused on bringing robotaxi to Austin for the Model Y. Unsupervised autonomy will first be solved for Austin, and then actually we should parse out the Model Y taxi or robotaxi, and just generally like what's the Cybercab, because we've got a product called the Cybercab. Actually, we should parse out the term. And then robotic taxi or robotaxi, and just generally like Tesla, which could be an S3 XY. We've got a product called the robotic taxi, and then robotaxi. It's very confusing. Tesla, which could be an S3 XY that is autonomous, is a robotic taxi. Tesla fleet or robotaxi that we've made is capable of being confusing a robotaxi or robotic taxi. So the vast majority of the Tesla fleet that we've made is going from a robotaxi or robotic taxi. Once we can make the system work where you can have paid rides as we go autonomously with no one in the car in one city. Once we get that the system work where you can have paid rides to go fully autonomously with no one in the car, whatever jurisdiction allows us to operate. That is so very scalable because for us to go broadly a general solution to autonomy with whatever jurisdiction allows us to operate. City-specific solution for autonomy. Because we're solving for once we make a general solution to autonomy, we can basically make it work in all cities city-specific in that autonomy legal jurisdiction. Once we make it work in a few cities, we can basically make it work in all cities in anywhere in that legal jurisdiction. Once we make it work in once we can make it work in a few cities anywhere China, work anywhere in Europe, limited only by once we can make it work in a few cities, China can work anywhere in China. This is the advantage of having a generalized solution limited only by regulatory approvals. Artificial intelligence, and so this is the advantage of having a generalized design specifically for this purpose, using artificial intelligence as opposed to very expensive sensors. Tesla designed specifically for this purpose of a particular neighborhood, where that neighborhood may change, as opposed to and then the very expensive sensors. So high precision general solutions instead of a neighborhood where that neighborhood may change or often changes, and then the cost stops working. So we have a general solution instead of a specific solution. Then with regard to Optimus, we're making good progress on Optimus. We expect to then have with regard to Optimus, thousands of making good progress on Optimus working in Tesla factories by the end of this year. We expect to have thousands of Optimus robots working in Tesla factories. We expect to scale Optimus in useful work faster than any product, I think, in history. And to get to scale Optimus millions of units per year faster as soon as possible. Any product, I think, in history. Feel confident in getting to get to a million units per year in less than 5 years. As soon as possible, I 4 years. Feel confident in getting to a million units per year in less than 5 years. 2030, I feel confident in predicting a million Optimus units per year. It might be 2029. 2030, so I feel confident in predicting a million Optimus units per year is doing very well. It might be 2029. The Megapack is so. Let's see. With respect to energy business is doing very well. Utility companies to the Megapack is total energy than would otherwise be the case. It enables when you think of the utility companies to the energy capability of the grid, total energy, it's much more than say total energy. When you think of the per year, is the energy capability of the grid. It's much more than at peak power. Say total energy output for a year is all 24 hours, as opposed to being at half power, sometimes quarter power at night. at peak power, then you could double the energy output all 24 hours, as opposed to being of existing at half power, sometimes a quarter power. But in order to do that, you need to buffer the energy. You could double the energy output so that you can charge up the something like battery existing power plants and then discharge into the grid. In order to do that, you need to buffer the energy. So this so is you can charge up the something like battery massive unlock and then discharge into the grid during the day. Energy output. So of any given grid. This is over the course of a year, a massive unlock. Total utility companies are beginning to realize this. Output. And of any given grid or megapacks on scale over the course of a year. So at this point, utility companies are beginning to realize this. Battery is and are buying our megapacks on scale. So at this point, gigawatt class and beyond battery is batteries. Quite a common thing. And we expect the orders in the stationary energy storage business to scale ultimately to terawatts per year. And we expect the stationary energy storage business to scale ultimately to terawatts. Now, Q1, so first quarters of a year are usually pretty tricky because it's usually the worst part of the year because people first quarters of a year are usually pretty tricky winter during a blizzard. So it's usually the worst part of the year because people and don't this want to go buy a car in the middle of winter like during a good quarter to do a cutover to the new version of the Model Y. And this so we picked Q1 as like a good quarter the world's best-selling cars. Remembering the Model Y is the cutover to the new version of the Model Y on Earth. And we changed production with a 1.1 of the world's best-selling cars with your output. Remembering the Model Y is the best-selling car of any kind on Earth. And we did this changeover at the same time with a 1.1 all across the unit per year output. Congratulations to the Bethesda team on an amazing job. And we did this changeover at the same time transition in factories all across the world. So congratulations to the Bethesda team on an amazing job. It's really pulling off what is a very difficult transition. So yeah, it's really that was very impressive work. In conclusion, while there are many near-term headwinds for us and the broader industry, the future for Tesla is brighter than ever. In conclusion, while there are many near-term headwinds for us, is delivering industry sustainable abundance Tesla with our affordable AI is brighter than powered robots. So the value of this company is delivering sustainable abundance with our affordable AI, sustainable abundance for all. So this you say like, what's the ideal future? I like this phrase. Imagine. That's what you'd want. Sustainable abundance for all. Abundance for all in a way that's sustainable. You say like, what's the ideal future that you can imagine? It's good for the environment. That's what you'd want. You'd want this is the happy abundance for all. If you say what's the happiest future you could imagine? One which is good for the environment. That would be a future where there's sustainable abundance for all. Future. If you say what's the happiest future you could imagine? One which is that would be a future where there's sustainable abundance for all. So thank you again. We can get on team for all their efforts at the challenging time. And look forward to continuing to lead the team for to all their efforts. Great success in the future at the challenging time. Great. I look forward to continuing to lead the team. Before we move on, Bob has some great success in the future.
Thanks, Elon. As Elon mentioned, in Q1, we achieved something which has never been undertaken in the automotive industry of updating all our factories. As Elon mentioned, in Q1, we achieved something which has never been undertaken in the automotive industry of updating all our factories for the best-selling car in the world. We're not aware of anybody else being able to do the best-selling car all at once within a quarter, and that too hitting all the time. We're not aware of anybody else being able to do the best-selling car. Big kudos to the team within making this happen. And that too, additionally, we also hit a record gross profit for energy storage business. Big kudos to the team for making this happen. Now, getting back into additionally, we also hit a lot of speculation as to the reasons for energy storage business vehicle deliveries in the first quarter. Now, getting back into the business, there's been a lot of speculation as to the reasons for decline of our vehicle deliveries in the first production. We had previously guided that we will be updating the ripple effect of the change. This will lead to having enough of new Model Y production available in most markets for people to see and experience. The ripple effect of the change is not having enough of new Model Y. The negative impact of vandalism for people to see and experience hostility towards our brand and our people. Additionally, impact in the negative impact of despite this, and we were able to sell out legacy brand and our US, China, and had other markets in certain markets. And again, despite this, we were able to people understand we were producing the legacy model China and a few other markets to end of February. And again, we switched over. People understand we were producing the legacy model Y. So again, till middle to end of February, that people we switched over and we were able to still sell out within that period. We've been extremely. So again, we have a very achievement by competitive vehicle lineup, people at which with most vehicles going through a recent update. We've been extremely, we have a very extremely competitive vehicle lineup. You have a personal show for vehicles going through a recent update anywhere under support. And after that, there are numerous stories shared by customers ranging from how it has improved their daily, which can take you almost anywhere to providing mobility to customers. There are numerous stories shared by giving older customers the ability to travel comfortably and independently. To provide not only is the customers with disabilities safer than giving older customers the ability to travel comfortably and independently. And again, this is something supervised. You have to experience, but it is and anybody who has experienced individuals just knows. And again, this is something we've been doing a lot. Have to experience, try and anybody who has experienced, at least on X, just so that people can see and how we've been doing people have benefited lately. Try and now coming into those stories out, at least on X, so that people can see auto margins declined other people have primarily due to the reduction. Now coming into some of the lower fixed cost absorption, auto margins declined due to primarily factory changeovers, the reduction in lower regulatory revenues, lower fixed cost absorption, while a slight increase in pricing due to the launch of new Model Y. And lower regulatory incentives which we had to offset slightly, while a slight increase in pricing due to the launch of new models, like I said before, has achieved incentives which we had to milestone of great highest gross profit. Our energy storage business, like this I said before, has achieved yet another decline in milestone of the importance of this business, as you mentioned, is this was despite profound sequential decline in this environment because. The importance of this in order for grid mentioned is work properly with the demands from AI in this environment because you need some more stability. In order for grid by far the simplest and best solution which demands from AI and all this, which can help you do this, and we've also developed certain and this is by far solutions to help our customers solution which we are aware of. Which can help do this. And we've also developed side we've been unique solutions to help our customers to achieve this. And it's been received on the very Powerwall side from customers and selling to the extent that we are currently supply constrained. It's been received with on services and other margins reception from customers. They were slightly down to the extent that we are currently because of the pressure on our used car business and insurance business. On services and other margins, we continued slightly down to improve profitability in our services because of the pressure on our used car business and insurance business. Note that previously discussed, our operating expenses continue to increase sequentially, primarily due to our AI-related initiatives. As previously discussed, and also our operating expenses continue to increase sequentially, primarily due to our AI-related initiatives, including these expenses flow also cost of development. We believe even in the current environment, it is the right start and cheaper models. Making investments, these expenses flow through our position us for the long term. We believe even in the current environment, it is the right strategy by decreases making investments in these areas changes in our position for the long term. These increases other income reduced significantly on a sequential basis from changes. The primary reason was Bitcoin mark-to-market. Other income reduced significantly on a sequential basis, resulting in $472 million was the remainder of the change is because of Q1 versus gain in with the adoption of new resulting in $472 million drop. We expect the remainder of the change is because of volatility in other income with the adoption of the FX mark-to-market standard for Bitcoin. I know we expect is the hottest topic which people talk about other income and it has various to the FX to our business. I know as Elon mentioned, is the hottest topic which people talk about. We've been on this journey has various regionalization for years. Specifically in the US, on the vehicle business, we have been on this journey of American regionalization for years. Cost outcome made in America. Specifically in the US, Model Y This has been rated the most American model made car over the cost outcome made in America. And to the extent that today, if you look at our part is of the all the work which team has been doing over the years. And to the extent that today, on a weighted average basis, if you look at our USMCA vehicle lineup in US, so like Elon said, this definitely gives us on a weighted average basis 85% USMCA in terms of managing the tariffs. But so we're not, like Elon said, this definitely gives us a bigger edge Section 232 auto tariffs in terms of managing the tariffs, but which includes Canada and Mexico. Because Canada and Mexico is when the part of our Section 232 auto tariffs become effective in May, which includes Canada and Mexico. And I know Canada and Mexico has been part of our regionalization. Like a couple of thousand, give or take, will have an impact, which is pretty much in line with what we've been. And I know research modeling on this impact has been the impact of a couple of thousand. The energy business will be also pretty much in line with what we source electric battery cells from China. The impact of the process of the energy business will be local manufacturing of electric battery cells. We source electric battery cells from China. The equipment we're in the process of commissioning equipment fraction of our manufacturing of electric battery cells in the US later. However, we've also been working on securing additional supply chain fraction non-China based suppliers, total installed capacity later. We've also been working on securing additional supply chain from non-China based suppliers. Impact on US, but it will take from our energy, from tariffs also energy business. We do have manufacturing China, which all the just started operations in Q1 from our energy that tariffs on the energy business that should take care of. We do have manufacturing China, which just started operations in Q1. There's also an important impact of tariffs that should take care of. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive since. In order to there's also an important impact of tariffs on capital investment. We have to bring. I know this is outside the use because there is not that much capacity. In order to own and the current trade environment or expand lines, we have to bring equipment from outside the use because there is not that much capacity. Right now. Exactly. And the current trade environment, such and the reality is that China
is bringing it from China right now.
Exactly one which has the most capacity to provide this equipment. And the reality is that China has guidance inclusive of one which has even with the optimization we are trying to do. It is forecasted to be still in excess of our capex guidance inclusive of we're still even with the optimization we are trying to do this. It is forecasted to be still in excess. We have near-term challenges in our business due to tariffs. We're still evaluating what we think our strategy of providing the best product to summarize competitive price. We have near-term challenges in our business, and this is the reason we're still focused on bringing cheaper. We think our strategy of providing the best product at a competitive price is going to be a winner. And this is additionally focus on advancement in FSD-related features, including of production taxi launch in Austin later this year. Additionally, should help create an advancement in FSD-related features. I would like to thank including pilot taxi launch in Austin later this year. Should help create a new
Thank you very much, Bob. Now we will move on to investor questions. We will start with questions from say.com. First question is, what are the highest risk items in the critical path to robotaxi launch with questions from say.com. First question is, what are the highest risk items on the critical path to robotaxi launch and scaling? Yeah, we've got a Shoko on.
Sure. Well, just to make, we're just disambiguate the cybercab from robotaxi. Disambiguate cybercab from robotaxi Tesla's gain, because the Teslas that will be so autonomous in June in Austin that will be Model Ys, because the Teslas that will be so fully autonomous in June in Austin are currently on track to be able to do paid rides fully autonomously in Austin in June. That's currently on track, and to be able to do paid rides fully autonomously, and then to be in Austin in June, many other cities in the U.S. by the end of this year. It's very difficult to predict the exact ramp. Many other cities in the U.S. week by week, month by month, except that it will ramp up. It's very difficult. It's difficult to predict the exact. So it's going to be like some sort of S curve, where predictors predict the intermediate slope of the S curve, but you kind of know where the S curve is going to end up. It's going to be like some, which is the vast majority of the S curve, where predictors predict the intermediate slope of the S curve, but you kind of know where the S curve is going to end up. That's why I feel confident, which is the vast majority of the Tesla fleet, large-scale autonomy around the middle of next year. But, that's why I feel the second half of next year, meaning large-scale autonomy. I predict that there will be millions around the middle of next year operating autonomously, fully autonomously. Certainly the second half of next year, meaning in the second half of next year. I predict that there will be millions of Teslas operating autonomously, fully autonomously. In the second half of next year. It does seem increasingly likely that there will be a localized. It does seem increasingly likely that there will be a localized parameter set for sort of especially for places that have, say, very snowy weather, like say the Northeast, or like there's you can think of it, it's kind of like a human. Like, places that have, say, very snowy weather. You could be a very good driver in California, but are you going to be also a good driver in a blizzard? It's kind of like a human. Manhattan. If you're not going to be as good. So you could be a very good driver in California, but are you going to be also a good driver in a blizzard? You can still drive, but your probability of an accident is higher. You're not going to be as good. It's increasingly obvious that there's some value some value in having. You can still drive, but your probability of an accident is higher. And localized. It's increasingly obvious that there's some value for having different regions and localized and set of parameters for and localities. Different, but this is different regions. Put that in the nice to have category. It's not the required category. And localities. Yeah, it's really the car is. But this is that put just the nice to have category. It's not the required digital neural nets. Again, and cameras and humans operate really the car is biological neural nets. It's just very much like a human. It's so the same neural nets, strengths and weaknesses, and cameras will be present. And humans operate with biological neural nets and eyes. A digital. And so the same neural net and strengths and weaknesses, biological neural net and eyes. Ashok would like to elaborate on that. A digital.
Yeah, speaking to the location-specific models, we still have a generalized approach, and you can see that from deployment of FSD supervised in China. Speaking to the location-specific models, we still have a generalized approach, and you can see that from quite well, deployment of FSD supervised in China. That just shows that very minimal data that China specific is the right one, generalized because if you have gone down the different driving styles, that just shows that the AI-based solution that we have is the right one. It would have taken because many years. If you have gone down the previous, you can see those in the videos that people post online, more hard-coded HTML-based solutions. It will take many years to get China to work. You can see those in the videos that people post online. That's going to scale well, and you can think of this like location. So the generalized solution that you want you to a mixture of experts. Pursuing is the right one. That's going to scale well. And you can think of this like location-specific parameters that they all use as a mixture of experts to, if you're specialized or familiar with specific tasks, the AI will be general. This makes they all use these mixture of experts to sort of like specialize the parameters use limited amount of specific tasks to solve for the general. This makes the task that it has to solve. In terms of addressing the question, the models use limited amount of compute to critical things that we need to get right. One thing I like to note is validation. Self-driving. In terms of addressing the question, that there can be a lot of edge cases that only happen very rarely. Things that we need to get right. Currently, one thing I like to note is validation. Our self-driving, but then a long-tail problem where there can be a lot of edge cases that only happen very rarely. Critical for robotics. Currently, we are driving around and using our many days, but then single intervention, so you can't easily know whether you are improving critical for robotics your capacity, and so you can go many days without getting sophisticated interventions, simulations, easily know whether you're